Hi there, folks. Welcome back to the PandA Law YouTube channel. I'm attorney Judah Zakalik, partner at PandA Law. And today we're going to dispel some of the myths and uncover some of the secrets about debt settlement. Look, I get it. No one wants to talk about debt. Unfortunately, this means that it's really easy to get stuck in a Google loop of misinformation bias. That said, we should probably get started with the definition, because even that can be confusing. Legally speaking, debt settlement is a process of negotiation between debtors or the debtor's representative and creditors, ideally to reduce the amount of debt owed, eliminate late fees and penalties, lower interest rates, or all the above. In other words, rather than paying the full balance, the goal for the consumer is to get the creditor to agree to accept a lesser amount as payment in full, thereby helping individuals become debt-free more quickly. But how is this possible? Well, the first myth or tip I want to address is that debt is a contract. A lot of people don't realize this, but it's really as simple as that. So, since debt is a contract, and just like any other contract, there are terms and conditions that both parties must adhere to. The basic debt contract is a lender will let you borrow a certain amount of money and you will repay it back over a certain period of time, plus interest at a specified or variable rate. For most credit cards, you're also agreeing to late fees, contract changes with little warning, and even account closures or other adverse actions based upon your performance with other contracts. But at the end of the day, what you need to know is that debt is a contract. Unlike a lot of other contracts, a debt contract may be able to be renegotiated by the borrower. Here's an example. Think of debt settlement like a sports contract negotiation. If your favorite sports player is having a banner year, that player might want to renegotiate the salary and the team might want to extend the contract's terms. Both sides want something. So just as athletes and teams renegotiate their contract to get the best deal possible, individuals can renegotiate their debt with creditors. By leveraging their position and demonstrating their willingness to settle, individuals can often achieve favorable outcomes. This is mostly because creditors understand that getting something is better than nothing at all. When faced with the possibility of a debtor defaulting or declaring bankruptcy and receiving nothing, many creditors are willing to negotiate a settlement to recoup at least a portion of the debt owed. Most of the times, the creditor wants the settlement up front, but every now and then, they're willing to accept short payment plans too. Another reason, on top of getting something instead of nothing, that creditors might be willing to settle your debt is that sometimes you've already paid them back more than you borrowed. Here's a quick example. I had a client that had a Best Buy credit account they'd been paying minimum payments on for 5 years since the original purchase of about $5,000. The interest rate on that card is about 30%. Simple math shows that they already paid back 150% of what they borrowed just in interest. The balance had gone down only a few $100. So now, if Citibank, the issuer of the Best Buy card, takes another 35% of settlement, they're profiting about 185% of the original $5,000 borrowed. Sounds like a good deal. To be clear, I know I just oversimplified the math here. It's a YouTube video. But if you look at your credit card statements, it will always tell you how long it will take and how much interest you'll pay if you only pay minimum payments. It's usually 18 to 84 years, with an average of about 30 years. So how willing is a creditor to negotiate with you? Well, it's a little known fact that debt buyers often purchase delinquent debts from creditors for a fraction of their face value, typically between 10 to 20 cents on the dollar, and typically after the debt has been delinquent for 90 to 180 days. The bank's accountants want to turn the negative bad debt balance into positive cash flow, so they sell it. Now, do you think the bank would rather sell to a debt buyer and make a dime on the dollar or 20 cents, or settle with you and make a quarter or 50 cents on the dollar? Armed with this knowledge, a good attorney can use it, and possibly the threat of the creditor receiving $0 in a bankruptcy, as leverage during the debt settlement process to negotiate lower payment amounts and longer payment plans. Now, I'm an attorney and my law firm handles hundreds of debt settlement cases per year for our clients, so this next bit of advice might surprise you. In a lot of cases, you can settle your debt on your own. Now, it can be quite stressful. This is mostly because you'll have to deal with the collector calls yourselves. You'll never know whether you're getting the best settlement possible, but it still can be done. However, even though you can do something on your own, it doesn't mean you should. So while I admit you might be able to settle your debt on your own, I strongly recommend that you hire an expert to help you, and that the person you hire is a bona fide state licensed attorney. First off, historically speaking, the settlements plus the expert fees are usually the same or less than what you'll get on your own. Second, when you hire an attorney to represent you for debt matters, the debt collector calls go to that attorney. It's part of the law called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or FDCPA. If a collector violates this, your attorney may be able to sue that collector for damages and get you paid. Third, debt settlement is a contract under the law. It isn't a joke. The attorneys working for the collectors and the creditors are known for putting clauses buried inside the settlements that void the contract entirely, or allow them to continue to collect or sell the remaining balance even after the settlement is paid. An attorney can review the settlement contract for any gotchas or advise you of your rights under the law. Fourthly, people who hire debt settlement companies rather than attorneys are more likely to be sued during the settlement process. When this happens, the debt settlement company often dumps that client and tells them they need to hire an attorney anyways. It's better to start with a lawyer than be forced to change horses midstream. Finally, and perhaps most commonly, debt settlement companies that are not attorneys cannot file bankruptcy. Fair enough, bankruptcy might be something you want to avoid anyways, but there are two problems here. Debt settlement may not be your best option, and non-attorneys are prohibited by law from discussing bankruptcy, so you won't ever really know what your best debt relief option is. Moreover, an attorney's ability to file bankruptcy and their history of filing bankruptcy can often be used as leverage to get better settlements for their clients. Oh, and one more thing. If an attorney misleads a client or doesn't do the job they're hired for, they may lose their law license and be prevented from ever practicing law again. When a debt settlement company screws up the client's case, they tend to change their name, go out of business, or declare bankruptcy themselves and leave their former clients holding the bag, worse off than they were when they first came in. Please, if you're going to hire someone to help with legal matters like debt relief, hire a reputable attorney, not some telemarketer that doesn't know a courtroom from a basketball court. Attorneys have the expertise and knowledge of the law to navigate the complex debt settlement negotiations effectively and have a duty to provide their clients with sound legal advice and representation, ensuring that they understand their rights and options throughout the process. It's an extra layer of protection for individuals seeking debt relief. In conclusion, understanding the secrets of legal debt settlement can be the key to achieving financial freedom. By knowing your rights or hiring the right law firm like PandA Law, you can gain leverage during the debt settlement process, be proactive in negotiations, and take control of your finances while you work towards a debt-free future. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more legal tips and tricks. Oh, and if you have something you'd like us to talk about in the future, please let us know in the comments. Have a great day.